Everyone has their own way to make chili, but mine's the best. So let's just get right into my perfect pot of chili. Come on. There's just something so cozy about chili that I even wore my house shoes for this occasion. I'm making my chili in a heavy-duty cast iron Dutch oven. This is what I prefer. If you are short on time and you want the best flavor, pull out the old Instant Pot. Otherwise, make this chili and let it go all day. But Nicole, I don't have all day to make a pot of chili. Okay, make it the day before. It takes about 30 minutes to prepare. Let it sit overnight. It's always better the next day. There's your tip. Chili is better the next day. You could start with your onion first and get it softened, but I'm gonna start with my meat first because it gives you a better chance of forming some layers of flavor on the bottom of the pan. All right, step one is complete. I have browned and crumbled my beef. Now I'm gonna take it from the pan. I started with 2 pounds of ground sirloin for this recipe. It cooks down to a lot less, but when chili was created, beef was kind of hard to come by and expensive, so it was made to feed a lot of people and to stretch out. So while it is one of the main ingredients, it doesn't make up most of the pot. I like a good white onion. To me, they have the best flavor and the most flavor, so that's what I use in my chili. I like to get the onion going first because it takes the longest to kind of soften. You really don't want any crunch left in your onion. My onions have started to get translucent, so now I'm gonna add in my peppers. I like to mix yellow, orange, or red bell pepper in addition to some poblano pepper. I like poblano better than a green bell pepper. It has a little bit of a bite, but it's not too spicy. I went ahead and added my garlic in this step as well because at this point you're not going to be browning that much, so you don't really have to worry about it burning. It's just all kind of getting soft and good in there. If you want a really deep, rich flavor to your chili, you could try roasting your vegetables before you dice them to add to your pot. It really just takes it up another level and can add to that smoky factor. But I'm keeping it simple today. And now step 3 is to add our seasonings. Now I like to add this during this process because in a little bit of the fat that's left and with that heat, it kind of wakes up these spices before you add the rest of your ingredients. When it comes to flavoring my chili, I use what I have in my spice cabinet. I don't typically buy one of these because it just has unnecessary ingredients, and also you already have everything in your spice cabinet, so just save the dollar. What I like the most of in my chili is, of course, chili powder, a good amount. I use about 1/4 cup, and paprika, cayenne, and cumin. And then a little bit of sugar. You know, you want a little bit of sugar when you're working with tomatoes and things to kind of cut some of that acidity. And obviously, part of our spice combination is salt and pepper. Step 4 is to deglaze our pot, and I like to do that with a mixture of different things. First of all, beer. I just think beer goes with chili, so why not add some to the chili? And also, this is when I add the tomatoes. Tomatoes, the acid from them will lift up all that flavor that we've created on the bottom of the pan. Now, I love big chunks of tomatoes in my chili, but because I'm trying to make this a little more universal, I'm just gonna use tomato puree and diced tomatoes. But when I do choose my diced tomatoes, I like the fire roasted kind because again, I like to heighten that flavor a little bit. To really make this rich and beefy, I'm going to use beef stock, but at this point you could really just add water. I also like to add in some Chipotle and Adobo. Now these do have a kick, so if you don't want this chili to be spicy, I would just leave this step out. I'm gonna bring this to a simmer and add our beans. Beans, beans, they're good for your heart. And they're a great thing to add to your chili.
That's not how it goes.
My mom used to just use the big red kidney beans. And I do like these in there, but they're a little bit too big to take over the whole pot of chili, in my opinion. So I like to just do 1 can of that, a can of pinto beans, and then a can of red beans. I'm gonna cover the chili and let it cook for at least, I would say, at least a few hours. But while that cooks, let's talk about a few ways you could zhuzh it up if you wanted to. I like my chili a little on the thick and hearty side. If your chili happens to be a little too runny, my secret for thickening it up is to stir in a can of refried beans. No one will know they're in there, especially the people that don't like to chew on a bean. This is a good way to add that fiber without altering the flavor or letting them know there's beans in there. Another way to thicken your chili is just by adding some masa, which is some corn flour, and that can also help. If your chili is too spicy, what you could do is add in just a little bit of sugar to counteract that, or stir in a can of creamed corn. To boost the nutrition of your chili and just to add some interest, you could add in some butternut squash. You could also add sweet potatoes. There's something about the natural sweetness of these type of vegetables with that chili. It's just the perfect pair. Speaking of spiciness, another tip is to not make your chili so spicy to begin with. You can always add hot sauce or fresh jalapenos or something later. This way it appeals to more people. If you decide to use a slow cooker, be sure and brown off all your veggies and meats before adding them to the crock pot. An optional tip is to add more interest to your chili. No, you will never see me add chocolate to my chili, but some people like that. Another way to add an element of interest or make yours just a little bit something different is to maybe add a pinch of cinnamon, or stirring in a little bit of brewed coffee can have the same effect as that chocolate. All right, come here. Come here. Doesn't that look yummy? Soup's on, folks. Serving it up is very important. For my final tip, don't skimp on the garnishes. In case we just met, you might want to know that my favorite thing is the perfect bite. And you're going to create that by creating the perfect bowl of chili. I would like to know what your favorite chili toppings are, so let me know in those comments below. I'll share with you mine. Okay, I think we can all agree that cheese is a must. I think the most indulgent and definitely the best way to go is a Frito. I don't always have these, so my second choice would be a saltine cracker. Now, for the cold part, I like a little cold crunch from an onion, but I think a green onion is a safer way to go if I want that cold onion crunch. This to me is the perfect bowl of chili. I mean, nailed it. You gotta trust me on this. I have really enjoyed reading your comments, and I would like to know what you would like to see me put my spin on next. And in the meantime, if you're not already, be sure and subscribe to Allrecipes. See you next time. It's not going down the sink. There's a thing down here. Trying to get me fired, boy.
Neil!